Dementia can leave families feeling confused, overwhelmed, and unsure how to help the people they love. I'm Abby, and on behalf of Little Net Care Connection, I would like to introduce Marcia Fetterman Brodie, one of our featured presenters at our Senior Living Expo on February 24th. Marcia is a certified dementia care educator and professional trainer. In this interview, she shares what's really happening as dementia progresses and simple, compassionate ways caregivers can respond with less frustration, more calm, and deeper connection. If dementia is touching your family, you are not alone. And I hope you'll join us on February 24th to hear Marcia in person. Let's make those community connections together. And for anyone who doesn't know you yet, who are you and who do you help?
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to do this. My name is Marcia Fetterman Brodie, and my company is called Marcia Trains. I am a dementia caregiver educator, and that's my primary focus in training. I do some other things, but what I like to do, and the areas where I focus is I work with families who unfortunately has somebody who's recently or newly diagnosed with any sort of cognitive impairment. So that falls under the dementia umbrella. Everything falls under that umbrella. It's Alzheimer's, dementia, Lewy body, vascular. And I will work with families on helping them through that new dementia journey, which can be incredibly overwhelming. Where do I begin? How do I shift how I talk to this person? I spend a lot of
Absolutely.
times with families in workshops or
Mm-hmm.
just one-on-one. I also go into senior communities, formerly known as nursing homes, and I
Okay.
go in to places that has a memory unit or assisted living where the population is aging in place. And I do trainings for nursing staff, dietary, housekeeping, anybody that engages with somebody that has that cognitive impairment so that they have the very best outcomes.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you have a wealth of experience to offer and a lot of insight from your personal experiences within the communities and out on the field. What is the one thing you wish more caregivers understood about dementia earlier on in the process?
There's quite a few, but if I have to pick one, it is that the only person in this relationship, meaning if you're an adult child or a spouse, you are the only one that has control over the situation because someone that has dementia, and we'll talk a little bit about this in the seminar, the person that has dementia has a shrinking brain. That is the truth. And so when the brain is shrinking, it loses functionality. And lots of times I see people who say, if I just tell them to do this over and over again, or if I show them how to do it, they'll get it. And so one of the hardest things is to shift that thinking and reframe it that I'm the person that has to change. They're not going to be able to. So I have to be the one. And I think that's probably the hardest thing for people to accept.
Yeah, that's a profound actual shift in thinking. Absolutely. And I've seen that as well firsthand. That makes a lot of sense. Um, so I had looked at your profile and was kind of blown away with all the different things that you do, but I noticed you were trained and certified by Teepa Snow in the positive approach to care. In simple terms, how is this approach different and why does it matter?
Well, it kind of piggybacks onto what I just said. The thing that really hits home with me with positive approach to care and TIPA is meeting people where they are. And that's pretty fluid. You know, someone who's diagnosed today is going to be different in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. So it's a slippery slope, but you have to meet them where they are in that moment. And it's very understandable that people want that person back. I want my spouse of 60 years back. I want my parent back. It doesn't mean you lose them. It just means that you have to meet them where they are and
Mm.
try to find joy and purposefulness anytime that you can.
Ah, that's beautiful. That is something I think all of us can relate to and take home at a certain point in our lives.
Yes.
Um, at the expo, you'll be giving a presentation before our expert Q&A panel, correct?
Yes.
And part of the Q&A panel is going to be with our very own Shayna Dorfman from Compass Senior Solutions.
Yay.
And we're excited really for the wealth of information of your combined experience. What's one practical takeaway attendees can expect from your talk?
Well, there are thousands I could give, but what I would like to focus on just what I talked about. So let's say you've been married to somebody for 40 or 50 years. And and I see this all the time, sometimes 60 years. And so you know this person inside and out. You know what they're thinking. You know what their next move is going to be. And so what I try to teach people is how to shift that relationship. It's the same thing with the parent. You know, as an adult, we do have a different relationship with our parents. I did with mine before they became ill, and it's not the same. And so you really have to figure out how you're going to navigate with that person. They're still your spouse, and that person is still your parent, but how do you engage with them will be different. The
To have
tools
those
that I'm going to give,
meaningful,
I'm sorry, I
I
apologize.
was just saying, to have those meaningful engagements, you have to shift your
Meaningful
thinking.
engagements. So many
Mm-hmm.
people are terribly frustrated. They get angry. They don't know how to fix the problem. And so the focus is how do we find, I keep using the word joy because it's very difficult to find in these situations, but you can do it. You just have to figure out how to. And
That's
so those
beautiful.
are some of the tools that I'll give.
That's beautiful. I mean, I couldn't think of a better gift, for a lot of people facing these challenges and a lot of families to really have that take home. So personally, I'm excited to learn from you. I'm
Great.
excited to learn from Shayna and the Q&A panel. I'm excited to get these tips for my own family and my own life. And I think a lot of the attendees will really get a lot out of it. So this is exciting. And Shayna, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Hi. So who should attend this presentation, and why would you encourage them to be here in person?
Well, first of all, we're having a lot of wonderful professionals, and and having Marcia here is an honor. This presentation is really for seniors and caregivers and family members who are either navigating memory changes now or want to be prepared for the future. So being there in person matters because you don't just hear the information, you get to ask real questions, meet trusted local providers face to face. You get to leave with practical tools and leave with a connection that you can actually use. So it's about feeling supported and informed and not alone in the journey. That's why it's so important to be there.
It is really such a difference. You could read all this stuff online, look up all these things, but I think a huge part of this is a very emotional human journey, and having that face-to-face interaction where you like our attendees will be able to listen to Marcia's presentation and literally ask you both questions and get that kind of deep insight to take home, which I think is priceless. And I really hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you, Marcia and Shayna. We are so grateful for both of your expertise. I know Shayna's been in the senior living industry for about 30 years now, so you both have a wealth of information to offer to all of us. And I can't wait to see you both at the expo and listen to the presentation myself.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Abby.